Hello, Reverend MeeLing here, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle, nicknames. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about in this particular video of my Medal of Honor Art Project trips in reference to the 2018 drop-offs. So, going backwards, so that way I can make it easier as best as possible for those involved. Specifically law enforcement, I don't deny that, because there's quite a bit of stuff that happened throughout trips. So I had driven out, dropped off the Medal of Honor recipient, or Medal of Honor recipient artwork stuff to different locations before going to Iowa in a separate trip for the majority of them. I had taken the ones I could to Idaho, and I dropped them off at VFWs and American Legions, and DAVs, depending on what I could find, because the GPS was acting weird. And then when I got to the hotel that I was supposed to check into at in Elko, Nevada, to drop off that particular Medal of Honor recipient artwork piece, the hotel didn't have my reservation, but so I contacted Priceline, because that was who I booked through, and they had set me up in the Red Lion Hotel. And so I wound up speaking with the staff there, and then they were nice and stuff like that. I got to speak with some of the different residents that were there. There was a guy with a puppy dog, a little white puppy dog, and whatchamacallit, I spoke with one of the employees, really nice female. She said her dad was in the Vietnam War and stuff like that. We spoke in the smoking section a while. And then I was really surprised as to how cold it got in Nevada. Like, I turned the heater up and I was like, I cannot warm up. I'm in the middle of the desert. Not fully, but it's cold. Like, during the daytime, I'm kind of like, why is it cold? But it's what it is. So, I stayed there, and, I dropped off the ones in Utah, and then the ones in Wyoming, I think I did that time for that trip. I think it was that, or it was in different drop-off trip. No, I think I did that in that trip. It might have been that trip. But either way, all of my Medal of Honor artwork project pieces, I dropped them off. I know it's weird. I know it's weird. So because of the way I know my Medal of Honor art project is not the most normal type of artwork, because I have to go to the cemetery and complete a rubbing, as I was trained how to do before my head injury. One of the few things that I remembered in like a full sort of way of how to do that, so that way not to disrupt anything energetically or spiritually, and be respectful and all that stuff, and and other aspects. I in the drop-off aspect, because of the responses I had gotten in person for a lot of the stuff I was doing, it was one of those, I thought that it would be better if I dropped off the artwork pieces, and if the Disabled American Veterans, or DAV, American Legions, or VFWs, Veterans of Foreign Wars, if they wanted me to actually like do a presentation to like, you know, help them give to the families and stuff, they let me know. And I did get a call when I was in Nevada, and I explained that as best as I could, because I know that the artwork isn't the most normal. So I drop them off at night. So that way it's like a surprise. Hopefully in a good way. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. And so, but I also didn't know about hacking or any of that online. So I did everything I could to make sure that I got the commendation information correctly. And so in Utah, I found online only 4 names for Medal of Honor recipients, but I only was able to find 2 markers to complete a rubbing for. And then Wyoming found a total of 6 names, but I could only find 5 Medal of Honor recipient markers. And then, or 4, one or the other, 4 or 5 in Wyoming. There were 24 names I could find online for Colorado, but I only found 22. And in Nevada, I only found 1 name for a Medal of Honor recipient, and I found his marker. Idaho, I found a total of 17 names, but I found 16 Medal of Honor recipient markers. And so that was the drop-offs for that year in 2018. And I was in that, don't remember what the rental car was. Oh, it was a van. It was a van. I usually get vans for drop-offs because of the size of the pieces. Size of the pieces are never tiny. The only tiny ones are the ones from the Idaho area that had the tower in front of one of the cemeteries, and they had little markers, really big ones. And then in Portland, Oregon, but that's in the 3rd year. So in the drop-offs, you know, for 2018, I stayed at the Red Lion, and I just, after doing the drop-offs, you know, just, I'm a really boring person. I just kind of stayed at the hotel and didn't really do much. I did think about going to a casino, but then I was like, it's loud. It's all those dingings, and I have headaches and migraines. And so apparently it took a head injury to figure out that I shouldn't go into a casino because of the dingings and the loudness. I mean, it makes sense now. Makes sense now. Apparently it does take a head injury to figure that out. For me. Though I'm not the only person who has headaches and migraines, so you know. But I also I like the card games, and you have to count quickly, and I went from college algebra with trigonometry and calculus to second grade math, and I can't do math very well. And I tried to do the blackjack, not in Nevada, but in Washington State. And I was trying so hard to count to 21 from the cards, and I couldn't. I only have 10 fingers, and so the guy next to me at one point, he's like, "This is the number you have," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, thank you. I know I can't go above 21, but because then you lose if you go above 21." So. It's a really good thing. Anyway, so, I learned that it does take a head entry to figure out that I don't need to go into casinos. However, I will say, because I did test myself on a few things, and despite the fact, like, I noticed this before. And I'm not going to do this because I don't want to get in trouble with the casino. I have a really bad feeling, like, if you do certain things, you get in trouble in a casino, and I don't want to find out what those things are. And so, I had noticed that if I sat next to people who, like, were playing their casino, like the ding, 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 ding games, that they'd win. Like, but the second I walked away, like, lose everything. I was like, okay. So one day I went into a casino. I only did this a couple of times because I just wanted to test what I could do. That was it. And I'm sorry, but I had to do it. I had to check it out because I had to see if I could do it. And so, there was this one guy who was using the casino thing with the ding, 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 dings in Washington State. And I was like, mind if I do something? And he was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. He wasn't doing so good at the ding, 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 ding thing. And so, like, let me see what I can do with this energy stuff. And so then he started winning, and I was like, thank you for letting me test that out. And so then I went to a different area, and I was like, let me see in a larger area what I can do. It's so painful in here, but let me see what I can do. And so then I went to this section that had, like, which probably is not helpful in certain regards, because, a casino that has multiple rows of the ding, ding, ding machines is probably fairly commonplace. And so it's like, okay. I stood in one area and I was like, that one. And I just, not that I actually pointed, I actually just looked at it and I went ding, 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 ding. And it's like, oh, my head aches, but okay, go, let me see. I'm not going to look at that one, but I want that one to do. And it did the ding, 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 ding. I was like, oh, what? This is kind of cool. I cannot play. This sucks. But I could do that. So I'm not going to, like, I did invite some people to go to a casino because I was like, hey, let me see. And then it didn't work out. I'm like, what, it probably is a good thing because I don't want to get in trouble at casinos. I think that's a really bad thing if that happens. And so decided not to do that. But as a completely different time and story, just because of discussing casinos. So my ex-in-laws would travel from Fort Worth to Louisiana, Shreveport, like once or twice a year to go to the casinos out there. I was like, okay, well, I was pregnant with my son, and I was 18 years old. And so I had no experience going to a casino. My ex-sister-in-law, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, had gone several times with her mom, Grandma Nichols, and all that. And it was a group of Grandma Nichols' friends, and it's like, okay, And so they all were like, yeah, let's go together. And like, all of them were like, yeah, Susan, come on, you'll go in the casino and you'll go, do whatever. And I was like, okay, well, I'll bring $20. And, if I win, cool. If not, well, I only lost $20. Can't really complain. So, 8-hour bus ride from Fort Worth to Shreveport, Louisiana. Big old pregnant. Like, there was no mistaking at that time that I was pregnant at all, whatsoever. Sat on that bus for hours. Get to whatever casino that the bus driver took us to. Go inside, they were like, oh, we'll go to the buffet later. And I was like, okay. So then go to walk in and I pull out my ID and the security guard guy looks at me and he's like, you're too young to go in. I was like, what do you mean? Like, they told me that I could go in and, And he looked at them and he was like, you guys have been here before? And they were like, yeah, we're going to go do this, whatever. So you guys have been here before, you know that the rules are 21 and up, right? And they were like, yeah, You know her? Yeah, we know her, So you know that she's 18 years old. Yeah, what's the big deal? You could just let her in. She's, pregnant and stuff. And they were like, yeah, no. Can't let her in because of the laws. And I was like, I won't drink alcohol, obviously. Like, I'm pregnant. Like, I see, pregnant. It's not a pillow. Not now, but back then. And he just was like, oh, you actually just showed me your pregnant belly to prove to me you're pregnant. Okay, wow, this is different. And I was just like, yeah, so I'm not going to drink. I don't even drink coffee right now. Just to make sure. So, it's a really long drive. I'm just saying. And he was like, yeah, no, can't let you in. We went on a bus. Like, it could take, really? I have to stay here by myself while they go gamble? And I'm not from here, and I had a head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. Well, yeah, at that time I had to say 2000 because it was 2001. And they were just like, oh, well, you just, go walk around Louisiana, Shreveport by yourself while you're pregnant, and we're going to go inside and go gamble. I was like, oh, okay, not like I have a choice. So, just walked around the area because I had nothing else to do. And I spoke with a whole bunch of people about all sorts of different stuff for like 12 hours because that's how long that was. And so, they did their thing, and I'm just like, okay, so, I'm just pregnant. Sure, okay, whatever. I mean, Louisiana's pretty. I can walk around, no big deal. And so I've walked around scarier locations well before then, so I'm just walking around off of the casino property, which took a little bit to find the way to walk off of that and then remember how to get back. But I had a notebook so I could write down what street it was. And just kind of just gonna walk around Shreveport, Louisiana area because my at that time, in-laws, just didn't go and gamble. Whatever. Sure. That's a big deal. Pregnant woman by myself. And then, when it was over, everybody gets back on the bus and they're like, so did you have fun? And I was like, really? Really? I hope all of you lost. I hope you did. I hope all of you lost. And every single one of them did. Every single one of them. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's what you get, because all of you knew that, there are laws for this. I didn't. So, I walked around by myself for 12 hours. And then they were all talking about the gambling stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't know what you're talking about because I didn't get to go in. Because, I'm 18 years old, so I can't get into the casino. But sure, great. You guys had fun? Cool. Fantastic. I'll just sleep here because I'm tired and I'll just sleep on them. And then when getting back to the house in Fort Worth, my now dead ex-husband, but then husband, comes up and he's like, so did you guys have fun? And I'm like, did you know you could only be 21 and up to get into the casino? And he's like, yeah. Really? Yeah. Oh. So you sent me knowing I couldn't get in? Well, it would be funny, and I'm like, oh, I hate you so much. I hate you. You're gonna suffer for that, I promise. I promise. I'm gonna make a list. You're gonna owe me. You're gonna owe me big. You're gonna owe me so big. And then he looks at me, he's like, yeah, okay, whatever, I'll owe you. I'm like, no. You're gonna owe me. I'm tallying everything up. You're gonna owe me after that proposal. Not just that, you're gonna owe me big. When I come to call for my debt that you owe me, you're gonna owe me big, and you're gonna pay it all. All of it. And he was like, yeah. I'm like, no. Don't yeah me. When I say that you have to pay up, you're going to pay up. And since you knew that, I'm going to hit the jackpot. The biggest jackpot ever. Because you will owe me. You're going to owe me big. You're going to owe me. Since our current president of the United States of America says it this way, you're going to owe me huge. Although I actually did say it that way back then. It's going to be huge, but you're going to owe me. You owe me a lot. A lot. And he was just like, yeah, oh, okay, I'll make up for, that. No. 8 hours each way and 12 hours of walking around. You're going to owe me a lot. And you're going to pay up. Guarantee you, I will make sure of it. Irony, later, he did make a pact, and then that whole spiritual thing, there's a prior video on that, and that would be irony of ironies, because, Cherubim apparently messed with my Medal of Honor art project, and that sign went out, and for those cherubim who messed with my Medal of Honor art project to cause problems, I'm not divorcing you. Not divorcing cherubim from my dead ex-husband, your spiritual husband. Jackpot.
But yeah, the casino in Nevada, I obviously did a good too. Have a good one. Like and share.